What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today we'll be going over my guys in the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm super excited, and yeah, my guys is essentially people who I believe are going to be successful in the NFL, and that could be just being a straight up starter, a role player in the NFL, or a superstar to to any team. And the people that I got up on this slide right here are last year's people that I selected. You got Kenneth Walker, Brock Purdy, Drake London, Kirby Joseph, Damian Pierce, and my guy. I call him Palomalu's cousin. I have no idea if they're related or anything. I just call him that because he plays like Palomalu. He has the same hairstyle as Palomalu, and the guy's a freaking beast, man. Can't believe he slid to the fifth round. The 49ers got a straight steal for that. And yeah, we're gonna get right into it. It's gonna be a super fast video, so let's get right into it, man. First one, Bryce Young. Obviously, this guy's like top two prospects. He's either going first overall or second overall. Doesn't matter. Whatever team is gonna select him is getting a really solid quarterback, like a superstar quarterback. This man has all the skill traits you want in a quarterback. Next one is Will Anderson, the Terminator. The man's a freaking beast. Guy can rush off the edge with speed and power. He has all the traits. He has the length. He has everything he needs to be successful, and he should be in the NFL. Next one is Christian Gonzalez. This guy's my favorite corner coming out. He has the length. He has the speed. He could play press. He could play zone, and he's my favorite corner. Like I said, coming out, I believe he could be the best corner out of this whole draft class. And it's a very bold statement to say because the top five prospects in the corner position this year are really good. Really good corner draft, and I really believe he could be number one. Jordan Addison. He could have came out last year, but he just decided to stay one more year in the college football. Transferred to USC from Pittsburgh. He played with Kenny Pickett, had a phenomenal year. Kenny Pickett almost won Heisman because of him. And then he played with, what's his name? I think his last name's Williams, but he's a solid quarterback. UFC, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. Jordan Addison, phenomenal receiver. He's a do-it-all man. He could go down deep. He could play your little what do you call it, reverse game. Just get the ball in his hands. He can make people miss. He's a phenomenal route runner. Guy's a legit receiver, number one receiver coming out this year. Michael Mayer, man, this guy's a do-it-all. Just like Jordan Addison, this man has all. He could block. He could he could do it all. Like this guy's has broken all the Notre Dame records for the tight end position, and like, excuse me, Notre Dame has just produced over time and time and time again some really good tight ends from Notre Dame. And I believe he's going to be the best one to come out. And most people have him ranked number one at the position. He's kind of dropped down to number two, but he's still a really good tight end. Simpson. Simpson's a guy that I barely recently watched tape of. Phenomenal speed. Finds a way to get to the football. He has the power to make people pay. And yeah, very athletic. He's 6'3" and he moves around like he's 6 foot. He's a speedy guy. He's very rare to see a linebacker that has the speed and power. Like I can't really name that many people. Like Devin White, he's getting on the older side. He just requested a trade from the Bucks, so maybe the Bucks could just replace him with this guy. But you know, guy's very fast, very powerful, very rare at the linebacker position. Stetson Barnett. This guy's a true underdog. Has an incredible story. Man's led the Georgia Bulldogs, and I know it hasn't been all him, but at the end of the day, it's a team game. But he's the quarterback. The quarterback makes crucial decisions, to get to the points on the board, and they dominate TCU. They put up a lot of points against that TCU team, and though TCU was literally out of their league, just due to the recruiting stuff. Georgia has 5-star recruits like all over the board, and TCU, you know, they just don't have that. But Stetson Barnett led the team to 2 championships. Guy's confident. I think he's found everything he needs to be successful in the NFL. He's probably gonna get drafted later in the round, but honestly, that's probably best for him because he's still gonna have that underdog mindset, and that's what makes him successful as a player. Dalton Kincaid, man. Again, this is a guy that I very recently found out when I was looking at the rankings or just looking at prospects at the tight end position. I was like, oh man, Utah has to have a tight end that's really good because I didn't know any of these tight ends' names. So I was like, all right, Dalton Kincaid is gonna be the first guy I look at. Utah has to have a really good tight end, and they did. First tape I watched from him, I was like, man, this guy looks like Zach Ertz, bro. It's, I don't know if he idols Zach Ertz. He's wearing his number. But I don't know if that's what he models his game around. But he truly looks like Zach Ertz, except he's faster. He's just faster. I feel like he's faster. He understands the game. He always finds a way to get open. And that's really the name of his game. Get open. You're the safety blanket for your quarterback, and you could get those easy catches, those easy touchdowns. Just find a way to get open. He truly understands the game. Keon White, man. Keon White is a powerful edge rusher. He could play in that 3-4 scheme if you really need him to. He could drop back. Obviously, it's not recommended, but he is, he's capable of doing it. But he's a powerful edge rusher, and yeah, he truly stood out from the Georgia Tech team. Combine had a phenomenal combine. Like I said, he showed that he dropped back right there. He showed his powers and his swim moves and those what do you call it? The rip move. Jayden Reed, he's truly one of my guys. I watched him from his sophomore year, and I just seen him grow in Michigan State. I believe his best year was when Kenneth Walker was there, because Kenneth Walker took a little pressure off of him. But Reed is a legit receiver. um, he's a first round talent for sure, but he's most likely going in the second day, in the third, excuse me, in the second or third round. And it's crazy to say because this man, he stayed one more year to make it that to like up his stock, to become a first round pick. I thought he would be a first round pick, So like, okay, yeah, last year's receiver class was pretty stacked, so stay one more year, up your stock, and it kind of didn't work out for him because his stock is, I probably the same to be honest, and yeah, but he's a really solid receiver. He's gonna be phenomenal in the NFL. Can't wait to watch him. I hope whatever team gets him uses him, to his full potential. The same thing with Rashad, Rayshawn, Rashawn, Bryce. Guy is legit, man. I know everybody thinks he only runs a slant and a fade, but trust me, man, this guy could run the whole route tree. Reminds me a lot of AJ Brown, and it's a big comparison because AJ Brown's probably top 5, if not the top receiver in the NFL. Well, definitely last year he was one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL, or the best. I think Rashad Rice, right? I think Rice could be like AJ Brown. It just really depends what team he goes to, and if they really use him to his full potential. And then Keyshawn Bote is a phenomenal receiver. LSU. I remember I don't know if it was a sophomore year. I think it was. I think he's a junior this year, coming out into the NFL. Uh, I just remember a lot of people talking about him. He had a big year the year before this year, and he's kind of under the radar right now, but he's still a phenomenal receiver. Um, he's probably going day 2 as well. I think a lot of receivers will go day 2, and yeah, he's just under the radar. Phenomenal receiver, dude. Don't sleep on Kayshawn. And Isaiah Foskey. Um, I watched a lot of Notre Dame games. He for sure popped out every time I watched it. Um, at the combine, he looked like the most comfortable dropping back and moving around. His feet work, his we call it the lateral quickness he had just looked so much natural. Because he ran with the edge guys as well too, so that's probably why. But out of all those guys, he looked the most fluid and natural at the lateral game, the backpedaling and dropping back and all that stuff. And to me, he reminds me of a Michael Parsons, and that's again a big statement to say. Except he's not as athletic as Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is super explosive, super powerful. I think he's a tad below Michael Parsons, but he has that same traits. He could rush off the edge. He could play in middle linebacker. He could do all that stuff. I feel like he has those traits. And let's see what defensive coordinator gets him and how they use him. Willie McDonald, man. I watched a lot of Iowa State games as well, and Isaiah, man, he popped out, big time edge rusher. He's only been in the game for a little bit, like in high school, barely in his high school year, and yeah, he's excuse me, he started his high school year. I don't know what year, but he compared to everybody else, usually these guys start like at 7 years old, and he barely started in high school, so this guy has a lot to learn. For sure, a project player, but has a very high ceiling to make up for it. Zach has a phenomenal story. Taller back, runs a little high, but if he gets a clean block and all that stuff, he finds the hole and he can hit it and make a big play out of it. And then Miller, this guy is the Kenneth Walker of TCU. This guy was a big portion of their offense. If it wasn't working out in the air game, give it to Miller. Miller averaged like 6.5, 6.3 yards per carry with TCU. Phenomenal back. He played phenomenal against Michigan. This guy should be a hell of a back in the NFL. Jack Campbell. I really fell in love with this guy at the combine. He for sure stood out over there. Haven't really watched that much film of him, but I know for sure he's a leader, and he can make he's a tackle machine. And yeah, he just looks like a really solid linebacker. At the combine, he moves really good. Did all the drills phenomenal. There's really no negatives I had for him at the combine. And Iowa has they had solid people playing over there this past year. Jahari Brown, I forgot what I ranked him as at my safeties. I think 3, but he's a really good ball hawking free safety. He's the running mate of Kevin Porter Jr. Them two created a bunch of turnovers, and yeah, Jahari Brown, fast, reads the plays real quick, and he makes a play on the football. Xavier Hutchinson, man, uh, Brock Purdy's safety blanket. To be honest, he's the old reliable for Brock Purdy right there. Um, he just looked like an NFL talent, running over there with Ohio State for all 5 years he had over there, all the years he played over there. He just looks like an NFL type of receiver. And Tanner McGee, I haven't really watched that much film of him. At the combine, he looked okay. He's a Stanford guy. He has the height. The ball does pop out of his hands, and that's really all I can ask for. Um, yeah, that's really all I gotta say. And Eric Gray from Oklahoma. Again, he's just one of those guys that looks NFL. It looks like an NFL player. He's probably going to be only a third down back in the NFL, but he's able to run inside the pocket if you need him to. David Allen, a guy from Clemson. He's my sleeper tight end. This tight end class is very big. A lot of depth in it. A lot of talent in here. People who could play and I think Davis Allen is getting slept on. Jamie Robinson is a strong safety from Florida State. For sure plays inside the box, but he's more than capable of playing the single high if needed. But he's, a run stuffing safety. Sidney Brown is a guy that I didn't really know much about at Iowa into the combine. He had a phenomenal combine as well. And he had a phenomenal combine. Looked great. And it's just crazy because Iowa, or is it not Iowa? It's not Iowa. It's Illinois. Illinois. They had like a bunch of good DBs, man. Sidney Brown, Martin, and Witherspoon. That's crazy. That's a crazy team to go against right there. And I think Witherspoon got hurt though. So. And Jason Taylor, he's my sleeper safety out of this class. I watched his tape, loved the tape that I saw. Saw a really good combine, and no one's really talking about him. I don't think anyone's really talking about him, but he's my sleeper safety. Should play really good in the NFL. Jonathan Mingo. Jonathan Mingo looked really good at the Senior Bowl, and people were talking about it, and now he's slowly like falling off of the radar of people's teams. But Jonathan Mingo is a good receiver. He's a good receiver. Should play good in the NFL. Riley Moss, he's another sleeper safety for me from Iowa. He got hurt one of the games I saw. He was balling in that game, and he got hurt. He went to combine. He looked phenomenal at the combine. Looked really good. For sure popped out. Then my guy from BYU. This guy reminds me of Julian Edelman. Like that's a big name as well to compare him to, but he really reminds me of Julian Edelman. Just because the mid game he has, the short game, and Julian Edelman was not that lethal in the deep threat, and he has that, dude. Puke, he has that mid and short game. Phenomenal route runner, runs at 100% every single snap. Loved that at the combine. Looked phenomenal. And now he's probably going to be late round pick for sure. Like super, super late. And just like Julian Edelman, I think he'll surprise a bunch of people. Malik Blackmon. He's a guy that I saw at the combine. He looked great at the combine. He played at Colorado and he transferred to USC. And the reason why I put him here is because I put him on my guys list. On my list is because he's playing at USC. He's getting matched up against Jordan Addison and all these other guys. So he's already getting NFL talent around him. So that's why he's my sleeper because he's already competing against a sleeper corner. Because he's already competing against NFL talent receivers. And then the Damian Tomlinson's nephew. He's 5'8". He benched 18 at the combine. To me, he should be a phenomenal slot corner. I don't think anyone's really I don't want to say like talking about him because that's kind of messed up. But he's for sure getting picked like at the back end probably in the NFL draft just strictly because of his height. Like the NFL is really strict about height, just like Bryce Young. His height is the biggest concern. And like Lavinius Tomlinson's nephew right here, it's literally his height. He's a phenomenal corner. If you watch his tape, he knows what he's like. He's so fluent. He's already like 2 steps ahead of you and stuff like that. But he should be a phenomenal slot corner, if anything, in the NFL. Jalen Wayne didn't perform that great at the combine, but he's still one of my guys. Ron Bell plays phenomenal in Michigan, made big time plays against TCU. And yeah, Ron Bell's a really good receiver. The DTR is a very entertaining person to watch. He has a deep arm, deep ball. Um, he runs with the ball. He he makes big plays when the ball's in his hand. And at the combine, he looked pretty good. You know, my sleeper quarterback this year. And then DJ Turner from Michigan. He ran a 4.3 at the combine. I watched some of his tape, man. He looks phenomenal, dude. Press corner. He uses his speed to basically do anything. Pursuing the ball carrier, making tackles, or catch up speed, you know? So, yeah. Jalen Monroe Cooper. No, it's not Cooper. Cropper. Jalen Moreno Cropper. This guy's American, Mexican heritage guy, so I gotta support him. But I watched this tape, man, from Fresno State. Fresno State, produced not Jamal Adams, Devontae Adams. So I started watching his tape. He looked phenomenal. He definitely has NFL speed, and Fresno State used him like Debo, man. He looked pretty good, man. He has that deep threat capability. He can make plays when the ball's in his hand. Definitely good at route running. What I say is elite. Probably needs some work, but I think he's an NFL receiver. Rashad Torrens, man, this guy reminds me of me how I would play. This guy attacks the football, attacks the ball carrier, phenomenal tackler, and he's able to play that zone coverage. He makes plays on the football, comes down, lays a hit mainly though, and he tackled against Damian Pierce, when he was at Florida. So, you expect him to be phenomenal at tackling. And that was my last prospects. My last prospect for this year's My Guys. I hope all those guys will have a successful career in the NFL. And hopefully I'm right, that they're good NFL players. And I want to thank you all for watching. This video is like 22 minutes, so it's not as short as I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be 18, but it is what it is. Hope you all enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. And